So I want to welcome everyone to the 2020 WebCenter Olympics. We're in week 7. Can't believe it's already week 7. But tonight's going to be an interesting training segment. We're going to talk about some advanced concepts in selling, and that's really going to talk more about the psychology behind selling as well. We're going to have a couple tips and tricks and some advanced things, but the most important thing is that you take it at your own pace. But I'll tell you, the things we're going to talk about tonight can really assist and help you in every area of Market America. It can help you with other divisions. It can help you with your team members. It can help you with all your relationships in general when you really implement some of the things that we'll talk about. So the first thing we want to talk about is our list of candidates, and really come back to the fact that this is a relationship building business. This is not about selling. It's not about pitching, not about promoting. It really comes down to building the relationship, and that ultimately comes down to engagement. So the first thing we need to do is go through our prospecting or reach out and do some reconnecting. We want to establish those relationships or reestablish those that might have been from a past life, so to speak, from previous careers or employment, but really just digging deep to find out who we know and what those connections are. So for contacts you need to reconnect with, or that you have a smaller relationship, start reaching out to at least 2 per day. And these are people that might be lukewarm or even cold or brand new contacts you might have met along the way, certainly through social media. We'll talk about some of those tips. But as you reach out to 2 per day, you'll start reacquainting with them and building the relationship. And as you engage and communicate and build that relationship, they're going to end up becoming in your strong relationship category. So it's a way to move people into a process and starting from a cold scenario and warming them up to a point where they are an established relationship where you can then schedule an appointment. A lot of times people don't have results with cold marketing because it is so cold. There is no relationship there. But it doesn't mean that we shouldn't do it. It just means that it's going to take time to build that relationship. And in some cases, that could be 5 minutes, or in some cases, it could be 5 years. Every relationship is different. We connect with the intent to engage rather than connecting with the intent to sell or connecting with the intent to approach. So if you keep that in the back of your mind and realize that it's more about the relationship, right? Relationship first, retail profit second. And if you really have that perspective, what that's going to enable you to do is build a massive amount of relationships and then work with the right people when you identify a potential need. And that's critical. And ultimately, it comes down to meeting people where they're at and showing people that you care and adding tremendous value. And that's what we're really going to talk about. And it comes down to networking in cold markets. A cold market is a prospect that you don't have an existing relationship with. Cold calling and soliciting is not fun. It's not well received. And really, the person on the other side of it is feeling that you're saying, I'm selling something and I want you to be the one to buy it. However, you can easily warm up someone in the cold market just by networking. So, I want to talk about expanding your candidate list and that it really is an ongoing activity. You want to take that candidate list and find sources of new possibilities. It could be through local bulletin boards. It could be through advertisements. It could be in the print advertisements coming to your house. It could be in the coupon mailers, the coupon magazines. It could be in other ads like TV, cable, radio. The idea is that when companies, especially now, are spending money on marketing and advertising, it means that they not only have a budget for it, but they see the importance, that they realize that it's an investment in the future of their company to advertise. You might even just pay attention to signage and vehicle lettering, maybe the banners that are around town. But more than ever, where a lot of people are online, is to focus on community groups. And a community group could be a social network. It could be a community group on LinkedIn or Facebook. It could be a mobile app like Shaper, S-H-A-P-R. It could be meeting people in the Facebook marketplaces. It could be your town-wide groups. There are so many different groups out there where you can start networking and meeting other professionals. So when we talk about social media, that's a great place because prospects are everywhere, right? Social media is like the coffee shop. It's like a coffee shop that people sit at all day long. So who do you know, right? And who do those people know? So one of the ways that you can do that is leveraging the connections that you have. Or introducing yourself to a certain group, right? Maybe it's a group that's a certain similar interest, an interest group, or it could be a business networking group. And you could even just post a statement asking for recommendations, looking for recommendations for a painting contractor, looking for recommendations of an auto detailer, and whatever it might be. When you use social media, you can acquire more candidates. Now, I'm not saying that they're guaranteed to be clients, but it establishes a strong source of possibilities for your unfranchised business, but also your WebCenter business. Now, you just want to be careful of using that recommendation feature and just saying, hey, I'm looking for recommendations of XYZ, because when you contact those businesses, you have to still build that relationship and let them know how you were recommended to contact them. You know, in some cases, in contracting businesses, you can have people come to your home and do a quote, but you don't want to get in that habit, because if you have no intent of using that person for their products or services, then you're really doing them a disservice. You're wasting their time. And if they catch onto that, or if they feel that, then that's going to be the opposite of what you want to happen, right? You're trying to establish trust. And as soon as you do that, your value has been diminished to nothing. In fact, it might actually get around and word will get out that you're just trying to solicit businesses. So you want to be very careful, because your reputation is everything. So you want to take it slow when you're building relationships, even when networking with other business owners, because you're trying to establish common ground, right? You can also use social media for social searching. Use hashtag searches, right? You can go onto, say, Twitter or Facebook, and you can just do a hashtag and say hashtag, and then you can use a competitor, Wix, Weebly, GoDaddy, WordPress. That's a great way to identify people who need a solution now, because many people, if they have an issue, they're going to air out that grievance on social media and hashtag, the competitor. Now, you don't want to pounce on them and try and pitch them right away, but again, you want to show genuine concern. I read your post. What seems to be the concern? I would love to help you if I can. Is there a chance that we can talk more? You can do social searching for businesses. You can search for just about anything, but the idea is that you have to be an active proponent in building your own sources of possibilities. And then you want to not just use the social networking and posting, but you want to establish some communication through the instant messenger, the direct messages, the private messages, rather than just on mass posts, right? So you want to then graduate that to text messages and eventually phone calls or video conferences. If you don't, it's going to still be a cold scenario, and every relationship is going to have in the back of their mind, who are you and what are you selling? So you want to be very careful how you introduce yourself and the approach in terms of the intent of your reason for reaching out. So ask yourself, do you appear and sound like a salesperson? Why are you reaching out, and what do you really want ultimately from that relationship? Because the person who's receiving those messages is ultimately thinking, how long should I listen, or should I block you out? Now, making cold calls also works against us, because why? Well, businesses receive countless sales calls, emails, messages each and every day. Think about it. Supply companies, advertising companies, cleaning services, utilities, promotions, credit card companies, point of sale systems, and the list goes on and on and on. So you could be seen just like the rest of them, just another salesperson trying to contact them and take their time or their money. So you really want to establish in your self how you plan to be different. How can you add value? Why is a relationship with you valuable to the person that you're trying to build a relationship? Ultimately comes down to building rapport. So your goal is to get them to know you, like you, and trust you. I call it the KLT factor. KLT factor. First people need to know you or know of you. Then they're going to like you for some reason, either because you've got a common relationship, or because they just like your personality. They like what you post, and there's some common ground, some similarities. But then ultimately, what you're really trying to do is get them to trust you. And that comes down to adding value and be intentional about the relationship. So ask yourself, are you presentable? If you're focusing on social media channels as a way to network and add sources of possibilities, then you make sure that you clean up your profile. If you're on LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram and you plan on reaching out to people, you want to make sure that you've got a clean profile that really shows your best you on the best day. Now, it doesn't mean that you want to pretend or fake it. You want to just be you. You want to be genuine, because when you establish a brand new contact, you better bet that they're going to be reaching out and stalking you on social profiles to get more information, to see if they want to even accept your request or accept your message or return your message. Just like you would do the same for them. They're going to be trying to figure out, are you friendly? Are you nice? Are you interested in them? What do you want out of the relationship? Do you have anything in common? So that's all part of mirroring and matching. So ultimately, when you build a local relationship, you can use phrases like, where do you live? What do you do? Who do you know? Try and find some similar relationships. And the beautiful thing about social media is when you engage in some of these online groups and there's a connection that you would like to make, when you click on their profile, it's going to show you how many mutual connections that you have, how many mutual friends you have. So you can leverage that as a way to reach out to that mutual friend if you know them or an acquaintance and say, hey, what do you know about such and such? I was hoping to get to know them a little bit and network with them. What do you know about them? And could you introduce me to them or help us get connected? Using that will kind of speed up the know, like, and trust factor, because everyone has a trust factor in the referral of another relationship that they know, right? Now, you also want to identify how you can help. How can you help them? Whether it's business related or not, if there's a concern or something that you can help someone with, then you should do your best and be your best person and offer that to them. And they're ultimately going to want to know, what do you do? So more than ever, you want to have your what do you do and your power statement as we start talking about how to approach them to build a conversation that leads to a consultation appointment. So we're going to go over a couple scripts, and these are all in our training. So make sure that you get to your next WCT 101 and WCT 201, where you can get more practice and more familiar with some of these phrases. But ultimately, there is a purpose for some of the phrases that are used here. For example, when you're calling someone and you say, my name is, hi, my name is, it plants a seed that you don't have that relationship and they don't know who you are. So you're a stranger to them and they're trying to listen for the next piece of information to decide if they want to open up and listen or if they're going to hang up. However, if you use the phrase this is, subliminally and subconsciously, it means that you already know them. Hey, this is Jason. In their mind, they're thinking, oh, Jason, how do I know Jason? Who is Jason again? And there is an interruption in their thought process. Rather than saying, do I want to listen or do I want to hang up? They're trying to strike something in their brain that brings this contact name to the front of their mind to see if they really know you, right? Then you need to state why you're calling. And that's the reason I'm stopping in, the reason I'm calling, the reason I'm texting you, the reason I'm emailing you. I was speaking to a mutual acquaintance. I was looking up the certain service, right? What is the reason you're calling? And then more specifically, why you're there or why are you contacting them? And that's your power statement. And your power statement could be as simple as networking. I'm a business owner and I was hoping to connect with other business owners in this day and age, right? Or it could be more specific, like I help restaurants get more traffic from their online marketing efforts. Whatever it is, it's got to be strong and intentional. It is your power statement. Then request permission. I was wondering who I would speak to about your business. Now, if you know it's the business owner, you don't have to say that. If you're not sure or you're looking to connect with an acquaintance or someone that works in an establishment, you can ask them, I was wondering if I had something to talk to regarding business and marketing, who would be the best person to speak to? And they'll give you that person's name. It is then your objective to determine what is the best method to reach them and when is the best time to reach them. Request the contact and the follow-up information, right? So when is the best time to reach them and how do they best communicate if I wanted to schedule some time to learn more about your business or about the company, right? So this is all an easy way to introduce yourself, be intentional with why you're contacting them, and to establish who you're trying to talk to in order to progress this business relationship forward. Most importantly, thank them. Thank them for their time. Thank you so much. And then you want to make sure that you use that information to then build an ally. If it's not the decision maker and it's not the business owner, you might be on the phone with an influencer or someone that is very important. It could be an employee, could be a spouse, could be an aide, could be anyone. But your job is to build relationships and build an ally within every company. You want to build relationships with as many people that work in that company as possible because it adds value. It adds to the know, like, and trust factor. So you also want to make sure that the people that you're speaking with feel important, right? They're tuning into a radio station, WIFM, with them. What's in it for me? So if you make them feel important, that's going to help. They're going to know you, they're going to like you, and that's going to build trust and add to the relationship. So you can do something as simple as, I apologize, I didn't catch your name. Oh, that's great. How long have you worked here? And then state their name. I didn't catch your name. Oh, my name's Suzanne. Suzanne, how long have you worked here? You probably know everything about the company. How's business going? What's going well? Where do you think you guys could improve? Really? What are you doing to fix that? Well, how are your marketing efforts? Are you doing anything with a website or social media? Well, let me ask you, Suzanne, what would you change if you could? If you had the authority to do anything, what would you change if you could? Asking those types of questions, those data mining questions, is all part of research. And think of how much that you can uncover by talking to someone who's employed or works for the company rather than talking to the decision maker themselves. So again, utilize this information. Don't just thank them. Hey, thank you for giving me Bill's name. I'll reach out next week. No, use it as a time to build relationship and gather more information. Well, thanks again. It was great talking with you, Suzanne. Let Bill know that I plan to reach out to him at the end of this week to see if we can help each other out. And then most importantly, follow through, right? So let's talk a little bit more about what that call might sound like when you got Bill's name from a coworker or a staff member at an establishment. You would say the same introduction. Hi, Bill, this is Jason, right? This is, right? Then we have a pattern interrupt. And that's because almost every phone call that you make or take, you will know that most people say, how are you? Hi, so-and-so, how are you? Hi, so-and-so, how's your day? And it's just filler words because honestly, when you ask that, you don't genuinely care. And the person on the other end isn't going to be vulnerable and answer honestly. So it's just a waste of space and a waste of breath. However, if you can fill it with something that triggers their mind to get out of that mundane conversation that just happens and it's habitual, you can stun them enough to gather another 10 important seconds on the phone. Hi, Bill, this is Jason. Did I catch you at a good time or are you in the middle of something? Now, a lot of people say, why would I possibly ask that? They're going to say I'm busy and I'm not interested in talking. But I'll tell you what happens. Regardless of if it's the right time or not, and they have time or not, it doesn't matter. You're asking the question just so you're different than someone who says, hi, how are you? Great, yeah, how's your day going? And it's those filler words that mean nothing to either party. Did I catch you at a good time or are you in the middle of something? It also establishes that you care about their time early on in the relationship so that they subconsciously start thinking this person that's calling me actually is asking me if I have the time to speak with them. I like this person because they care about my time. That means that they value me, right? And this is happening subconsciously. Now, that pattern interrupt, regardless of what they say, you can then move forward. I understand. Listen, I don't want to take any of your time right now, but the reason I'm calling is I was telling Suzanne last week how we help restaurants with their online marketing in these days, especially with their e-commerce, and she recommended that I speak with you about some of my ideas. Right? The reason I'm calling, you stated who referred you to call them, because if someone that they know, like, and trust, certainly someone that works within the company, has made the referral and told them told you should call this person, then they're going to respect that and listen to you. At that point, you're just going to request for a follow-up, right? I'd love to learn more about your company and what they're doing to see if there are ways that I can help you. And then if you can mention the name again, Suzanne mentioned that you're struggling with your ranking on search engines. Suzanne mentioned that you're struggling with your social media. Suzanne mentioned, because now it's not your idea and what you have researched. It's someone in the company that they trust. Suzanne mentioned that you're currently having a challenge with your website design. And I have some ideas. If you put that in there and I have some ideas to share with you, they're going to want to meet because they want to know what those ideas are, especially if it's a problem that a colleague, a coworker, or a staff member has brought up to you. Then, when would you have 10 or 15 minutes to talk some more? Now, you can use another phrase to create a sense of urgency, and that's how soon. How soon would you have 10 or 15 minutes to talk some more? And then schedule the next step, which is what? The consultation, the 10 to 15-minute consultation using the assessment sheets. So how do you design this approach? It's simple. It's just like we talk about in step 4 of the business and the basic 5. The introduction, how you got their name and the reason for the call. 2, eliminate the thing you're concerned they're thinking, which is their time and their money. 3, your power statement, right? Giving an appealing description. 4, the network and referral approach. I would love to talk more about your business so you can learn more about me and I can learn more about you in hopes that we can help each other out. If nothing else, I'm sure that we can refer business to each other. How soon can we meet? Set the appointment. And then if you want to avoid cancellations and no-shows, you might want to use a professional tie down. Do you see anything in your schedule that might prevent you from keeping this time? Or do you see anything that might get in the way of us meeting, right? What you're trying to do is determine if they're serious, and if they say, yeah, well, I get some other stuff going on, but we should be okay, you're better off rescheduling to a time that's clear in their calendar and yours, right from the beginning, okay? Then the professional tie down, make sure that they know that you're professional and you value your time and theirs. You know, I promise you, Bill, I won't waste your time, and I know that you hate last minute cancellations, as I imagine you do. Is that right? Yes. Every business or every business owner or professional hates when they've got no-shows or cancellations, as do you. So when you state that up front, I'm sure that you hate last-minute cancellations or no-shows, right? When they say yes, you say, great, I look forward to speaking with you on Friday. What that does is it plants a subconscious seed in their mind that states that they can't cancel on you and they can't no-show because you have been a person of value and a person of integrity that's genuinely cared about that relationship, and that you said that you would not cancel on them, and they stated that they hate that when that happens to them as well. So you are ensuring a higher likelihood that that appointment slot will happen. Okay, so let's just talk you through the script again as an example. Now, when you call and someone just answers and they say hello, if they don't answer with a business name or you're not sure if you have the right number, you can ask, right? Hi, is this XYZ Landscaping? Let them answer. Or if they answer and say, hi, this is Joe, or hi, this is XYZ Landscaping. Hi, this is Jason. I saw your truck at Home Depot in Manchester. Now, what that does, it establishes a couple things. This is not my name is, so it's not an introduction to a brand new relationship. They're trying to think how they might know you. And it establishes a local relationship and a local geography because they know that if you saw their truck at the local Home Depot in that city, that means that you are in the area. You're not calling from the other side of the country. They will respect and trust you more just based on that alone, right? However you saw or know of their business, whatever that is. You know, I was talking to Suzanne, or we have got a mutual acquaintance who recommended I get in touch with you. Whatever you can do to build that rapport right from the start. Do you have a second, or are you in the middle of something? The pattern interrupt. Great, no problem. I'm not looking for any of your time right now. I know that you're really busy. The reason I'm calling is, and then you use the reason. If you're using the straight networking approach, I own a few businesses in the area. It allows me to network with local businesses, and I help people increase their income online. I'd love to have a conversation with you. I'd love 10 minutes or so to learn a little bit more about your business, share a little bit more about what I do, and see if there's a way that we could help each other out. Worst case, we could refer each other business. How soon would you have 10 minutes to talk more about your business, right? An interest creating mark, a power statement, the reason for the call, and what you're looking for them in the relationship. You're just looking for 10 minutes to learn more about their company in this case. Now, the sense of urgency with how soon was in this example. And then also 10 minutes to talk about your business, not talk about 10 minutes about online marketing, not 10 minutes to talk about social media, not 10 minutes to talk about your website, not 10 minutes to talk about your product or service, 10 minutes to talk about what? Their favorite subject, which is their business, right? You're adding in value every single line so that builds more trust and credibility in the relationship. At any time, if they say, they say that they need to talk to someone else, an influencer, a business owner, anyone else, great. When's the best time to reach them? Because I don't want to take a lot of their time either, right? What that does is it establishes again that you're asking for permission to build this relationship. Hey, just a quick question. If you were the owner or ran the business, what would you say is the most important thing right now? More sales, more customers, spending less, or some other headaches? Let them answer. If they ran the business, what do they see as the biggest problem? Because now you can use that as a pain point to dig in further and do more research. Hey, can you clarify? Get them talking and get as much information as possible because, again, you're building that alliance and uncovering valuable information. Not valuable information to sell more, but valuable information to provide a solution, right? This is all about the relationship first. It's got to be a win-win or no relationship at all, right? It's got to be win-win or no deal. That's something that I would think everyone should have in terms of the integrity of being a sales professional. Win-win or no deal, okay? Make them feel it's special, make them feel important. Uncover things that are a challenge that maybe even the owner isn't aware of. Maybe they don't handle the calls from customers and they're not aware of some of these issues that you're able to uncover. But most importantly, don't make it an interrogation. Don't make them feel uncomfortable. And you'll be able to get a feel based on their tone. And if they're short, they're terse, they're concise, one-word answers, you'll know if you're aggravating them. So it is critical that you continue to just be a friend-making machine, build that rapport, but don't get to the point where you're so persistent and pushy that they get annoyed, because that'll work against you. You've got to find the balance, and that's going to be different for every single communication. If you get referred to another person in the company, hi, we're going to use Bill again, Bill and Suzanne. Hi, Bill. Suzanne recommended I give you a call. I was telling Suzanne about the fact that most of restaurants right now are struggling because of whatever reason, right? The reason I called is that I own a few businesses in the area, and one of them allows me to network with local businesses to help them with their online marketing. I'd like 10 minutes or so this week to learn more about your business, to see if there's a way that I can help or present some value to you. I did a little bit of research, and I think I've got some ideas that you can at least we can talk about. How soon would you have 10 minutes to talk about your business? And again, I didn't follow the script exactly. I was just paraphrasing or just really going off of things that I've heard in the past or that I've used in the past. But ultimately what it comes down to is the reason I called is, and I'd like 10 minutes of your time in order to further learn about your business as a way that we can help each other out. Worst case, we can potentially refer business to each other. If they say, hey, well, I actually have time right now. What, you need 10 or 15 minutes? Then just roll with it and start asking questions. Use the assessment sheets, have them near you when you make the phone call. Or if you're not prepared and you're feeling uncomfortable and you're not really confident, you can divert it. Oh, well, I didn't think that we'd have time right now. I'm actually about to call another appointment. I've got one starting in 10 minutes. So it'd be best for me not to rush through our conversation. Would it be okay if I called you back in 30 minutes? Or I've got an opening. Would it be okay if I called on Friday? Would it be okay if I called tomorrow? Right? So you can divert it, and they will appreciate that because they're business owners and they understand that business happens. It gives you additional time to prepare if necessary and do some additional research as well. Now, the more experience you have and the more skilled you get at this, you'll be able to have that conversation very easily and seamlessly to ask the right questions. However, if you're just getting started, you can easily just push it off and say, I would love to talk more right now. Unfortunately, I've got another appointment that I need to make sure that I prepare for to give them my best self. Would it be okay if I called you when we complete in about 30 minutes? Or would it be okay if we talk tomorrow? And they will respect that from you as well. So again, relationship first, retail profit second, win-win or no deal. This is all about establishing trust, rapport, and building that relationship. It can happen quickly, 5 or 10 minutes. It can happen over days, 5 days or 50 days, or it can happen over years. Your job is to continue to connect and engage with the intent to enhance this relationship further by adding value. So this week's assignments that you should be doing is creating a new list of sources. So you have your list of candidates, but now you need to look for sources of possibilities. Where can you do that? Well, it might be a social network, right? It could be researching online groups on Facebook or LinkedIn. Search for networking groups in your area, right? Local groups like Chamber of Commerce, Business Networking International, BNI groups, the local Rotary, maybe even a local business association. Maybe it's a mom's group, or maybe it's a PTO, maybe any type of networking group with people where you can start building some relationships to identify new candidates. Certainly review your sources to identify those candidates, meaning that when you have those potential candidates, you're going to do some research. You're going to go onto social networks, see if you have any mutual acquaintances. You're going to check out their profile, and then you're also going to do your current research by doing your online searches as well. What I'm going to challenge everyone to do is consider scheduling an online networking meeting in 2 weeks from now. What you're going to do over the next 7 to 14 days is use time to invite other professionals and other business owners in your local area to this networking meeting. If you're networking across a larger geography, it could be similar interest groups and trying to get those business owners on the same video conference or Zoom. Now, you can add tremendous value by being the moderator of that group, being the organizer, and being the connector. There's something about people that are influential that people are attracted to. So if you can schedule something out in 2 weeks, pick a date, pick a time, and then start contacting some people in these groups or in your local area, or people even from your candidate list, and invite them to an online networking social whereby you're just looking to connect business professionals as a way to connect in this crazy time we're in right now, where you can introduce each other, you can talk about your business, and maybe you have 1 or 2 questions that you would like to moderate and have them have a discussion point on. Maybe it's, how are you engaging with your customers or clients right now? How are you handling your staffing? How are you handling any state regulations? How are you handling, right now, the concern with cleaning and that process? What are you doing about protocols? Are you guys doing anything with online, right? You can come with 2, 3 different discussion topics and use that as a way to moderate and really just get people to get connected. And when you can help connect other people, you become the connector, which I will tell you will be the supreme way to add value to other businesses. So something that I think everyone should consider, and it doesn't have to be specific to WebCenter or business services, it's just to add value and then start building that relationship, because what you can do is then take that networking group and then start scheduling one-on-one meetings. Hey, thank you so much for coming to our networking group. It was great to hear your story. I'd love to grab a cup of coffee over a video chat. Would you have 10 or 15 minutes to talk more about business next week? Right? You can then invite each one of those people to a one-on-one conversation, and now you've established trust, rapport, and now you can have that conversation, and it seamlessly happens where you can start referring each other business, or you might have a new candidate and a potential website client just from that conversation that has happened. So, as you should always do, measure, monitor, adjust, and control. Review your activity up to this point. Review the past 6 weeks. Use some of the tools, right? You can go onto unfranchise.com, go to help and training, go to online courses, and then go to the Basic 5 diagnostic test, right? Part of the Master UFO program. Complete that. See where you can improve. What areas of the Basic 5 do you need to work on over the next 4 weeks? There's also a specific WebCenter owner assessment. So if you go to support materials and search WebCenter, we have a WebCenter owner assessment that assesses your attitude, activity, and skill level and gives you recommendations and quantifies where you need the most work and where you can invest time in improving yourself over the next 4 weeks. So again, use the tools that are available to you, your WebCenter owner assessment, as well as the Basic 5 diagnostic test, and then put things into action. Right? It's all about personal and professional development. Invest time in yourself. Invest in the trainings, right? There's a lot of WebCenter 101, WebCenter 201 trainings happening on Zoom right now. And it's critical that you access that information to help you build your business further. So I want to thank you for being on tonight. That concludes week 7. We will open this up for some Q&A. But the most important thing is to be active on the WebCenter owner support groups. And I will wish you the best in week 7 and looking forward to seeing you all in upcoming weeks from the 2020 WebCenter Olympic Challenge.